I was live. I was, you know what I'm saying? I was walking in my purpose. I was doing my thing. I was like with God. I was low-key like Enoch. Low-key just about to be transcended into the heavens with my Lord and Savior. Let me just be honest with y'all real quick while my hair ain't done. Fat said that her homegirl was like, ooh, there's some daddies in the church.
Was after the church.
There's some daddies in this church.
She definitely did say that. He ended up inviting us to his nonprofit meeting. Like, I don't know if it was the next day or like a couple days after or whatever. So we ended up going. And he was up. He was like, you know, leading the meeting, like, you know, getting all the volunteers together and stuff like that. And that's when I saw him. So then when I saw him, I was like, man, I can marry this man. Like, this is, like, I felt like, you know, like he was for me. In that moment, I felt like he was for me. He was like... I
was like, stop.
Not at all.
I was like, you ever seen somebody when they look at you, they be literally like looking all the way into your mouth? Like they look like trying to see like what your tonsils are saying. Like, man, there's a vibration coming from the back of his neck. I'm trying to see what that is. Let me show you. Fat would like bend the corner and like come back around the corner like this. And I'll be like, hey, stop looking at me like that.
Toby.
All right, but continue. So bottom line is she was like on like,
you know how like boy meets girl, like boy thinks like falls in love, like thinks girl is the one, like he knows instantly, all that stuff. Well, those roles were reversed.
Absolutely.
It was reversed. I was the one that was like, yo, like, you ready?
He wasn't
thinking about it. He wasn't interested at all. He wasn't interested at all.
Keep going, Fat. All right, what happened next?
So, what happened next?
You had two choices. You could either
So when he was like, you know, I'm not into you or whatever, he told me.
No. I said you. I don't like you. Stop looking at me like that. I don't like you like that. You are. You know, when somebody look at you in church, you can't say like, hey, stop. Like, get away from me. You got to say something like, hey, sis. What up, sis? Come on, sister.
He made it clear.
What up, family? What's going on, family? He
made it clear that he did not look at me like in a romantic way.
Sister, come on, sister in Christ. Come on, all the colloquialisms. I gave it all to her. All right, keep going, Fat.
So I had a choice, right? He was very vocal, so I had to make a decision. I could either take his honesty and keep on moving with my life and just like not be affiliated with him at all. Or I could take his advice, understand that that's not what he wants, a relationship is not what he wants, and I could become his friend and have him in my life.
It's not a relationship. I thoroughly wanted a relationship. I just did not want you.
Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you all are having a great day. So today we want to talk about, this is another Cynthia G video, and I just find her content, just to kind of analyze it, I find it interesting. And so I didn't think I would be doing like another video from Cynthia G anytime soon. I thought maybe, you know, but the topics are so interesting, and she posted a video last night. And this video involved, as you can see in the, you know, the opening, the video clip, it comes from an American rapper by the name of Toby Wingway and his wife, Fat Wingway. Now, I'm not familiar with who these people are, but it would seem that they are, he's like a conscious rapper who's worked with some big, you know, some big people in the music industry. And he does this kind of conscious music about some of the social ills that we have going on right now, you know, from like Breonna Taylor to and various things. But the title of the video are Black Women an Afterthought, right? This is more like, I guess, me analyzing what Cynthia G saw in this video and how she feels about it, what she took from it. And some of the imagery, I guess, in the video, some of the mannerisms and the ideas expressed in the video, I could kind of see how that can kind of look like it's belittling women, especially from a 21st century point of view. Where there's a strong advocacy for equality amongst women, right? And so I think from Cynthia G's perspective, what she kind of sees is this submissive black woman, but it kind of seems like her husband here, he seems like in the video, as you can see, like, he didn't really want her, that he's the catch. And that, she's kind of this desperate woman and he's not, really concerned about, he just doesn't share the same value of her that she has of him, right? And there are snippets in the video, there are parts of the video that were kind of concerning that I wish he kind of would have, addressed it a little bit. Like when he would say things like, I wanted to be in a relationship, I just didn't want you. It kind of would have been, I think what he should have done, he should have went on to express, I didn't want you at that time, but throughout the course of the relationship, I got to find the treasure that was right underneath my nose, right? So I think I don't want to put words in his mouth, and I'm not trying to clean it up, right? Like I said before, I see a lot of people attacking Cynthia G videos, and I want to just come in from a kind of non-biased, more analytical point of view, right? To see if there's something there. Obviously, there's something wrong. She has a big following, and there are a lot of women who have share her concerns, right? But so it could kind of be, looking at how he was handling the conversation, it looks like the value systems were a little bit imbalanced there, right? As far as how he valued her. But here's what I want to say to this, and I'm going to not try to present a viewpoint of this particular person in a relationship with his wife, because I don't fully know what's going on there. But let's take it a little bit more out general to what certain words can mean and expressions and ideas, especially coming from a black man, I think, in a case like that. And I think I can kind of speak a little bit from that perspective, me being a black man, right? So let's just say I got a little bit of, let's just say I have a little credibility, right? In that area. Maybe as time goes on, I have a little bit more. But let me just express a few viewpoints. The first I want to express is that you got to be careful with what men say, right? What they mean and what they say and what they really mean, right? So in a very, as a man, right, masculinity is very important. So you always want to look like you're handling a situation from a very masculine point of view, right? In a relationship, oftentimes that's what's ideal for a man. So it's an old expression I used to hear from growing up, from black role models of mine. And that was never fall in love. You got to stand up in love, right? So, when you consider a lot of these ideas that have been expressed to young black men coming up, the idea to appear weak in a relationship and vulnerable and appear less than masculine can make men kind of, at least in words, have that projection of, well, I'm a man, I can stand it, and if you walk out the door, I'll go on and I'll move on and so on and so forth. Now, of course, we know that in reality, that's not always the case, that a lot of men, they may say things like that, but they don't really mean them, right? So I guess the point I'm trying to making this is this could just be a kind of show of macho manism, right? Could just be a show of I'm this and that, and you're just kind of along for the ride. But if you really look at some of the the his actions and not look so much at his words, just from some of the videos and content I've been able to see on him, he seems to be very proud of his children. He seems to be very proud of his family, right? So this could just be in the media, right? That he's kind of, when they're home and things like that, you know what I mean? She seems very supportive of him. And it's a very participatory family, right? She's in the videos. She's right there with him. The children are in the videos. They have these very interesting color schemes, pastels, in their videos and stuff. Kind of reminds me his you know his his art in a sense, kind of reminiscent of like Kanye West, because I guess they're both rappers, right? I don't know. I kind of get that element from, but he seems very proud of his children, and from what she was saying about him, she was somebody she respected a lot and looked up to, and what what she really wanted. So she got what she wanted. It seems right. At least it would seem so in the video. Here's another thing I caught about this video that I think is important to note. He went when you were after me, I was walking in my purpose. And then he also spoke a great deal about, at first when he was saying like her friends in the beginning of the video, were saying like there's some good men up in this church or good looking men up in this church or whatever. When he was saying church, at first I thought like, is this just I was thinking like he was using church as just like a phrase, right? And it was just something he was, he was alluding to, in this group, in this area, in this group of selection of men, I'm one of the best, and so on and so forth. But he was talking about a literal church, So here's a very important thing that you also have to keep in mind. When he was speaking about the church and walking in his purpose, I think that a lot of that kind of can stem in the idea of people who are unavailable emotionally and just unavailable in general can become very attractive to some people, right? And in her case, maybe there was some of that there, right? Or maybe she just genuinely was really wanted to be with him, and she saw him as a husband, right? That could be it as well. But there does seem to be psychologically an attraction to people who are unavailable, right? I don't know. I think it has something to do with rarity, right? The idea that this is something anytime something's rare or less than or less of, it can become more valuable to people in their value systems, right? So that may have something to do with it as well. But she really wanted him, and he knew it, and so he expresses it throughout the the video, right? But it's kind of interesting because anytime you might be dealing with a type of spirituality, religion, things like that, where what you have to understand with many religions is that there is a more value emphasized and placed on that thing that is kind of the source of your belief system, right? So that generally comes first. And then anything after that comes next. It's just like in the Christian church, right? And you look at somebody like Kevin Samuels, he uses many of these Judeo-Christian like belief systems, orders of men and women. And this could very well, this person here, to Toby Wingway, right? He could be kind of in that same mindset of where a man might be held to a higher role, right, so to speak, right, that he may be over his wife, right, and that's how it is with some religions. So that's going to change a lot of how he values his wife in a certain degree. Whereas to maybe people outside of that belief system in order, they might see it as degrading or demeaning. And whereas within the scope of his belief system, he might see it as love, right? He might just see it as he put his divine purpose first. And that's the reason her value can seem like it's less than. And I'm just trying to make that comparison. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case in his situation, right? But I'm just saying, using a video like this to kind of say, well, look how these black men treat this woman. I think there's some type of spiritual religious connotation to it as well, in the video. But I also want to say, from what I've seen in the video, uh, we could also kind of consider that what he's doing is part of his image on stage, right? And so, like I said, when they're home, he's probably things might be a little bit different. Um, as well, if she understands that arrangement he's in to that degree, she may not view it as demeaning or degrading, right? She might see that as, the way things are supposed to be, and she may or may not be in harmony with that. I don't know, but uh, you know, is that going to work in every black relationship? No, because they're going to have to be kind of evenly yoked in that, right? So, for instance, a person who doesn't have this type of belief structure, that's not going to work if their partner is different from that, right? So that may not be acceptable to certain couples and things like that, and this may be seen as disrespect and having less value for it. I think the other thing I would say is that I don't think Toby Wingway would be representative of all black men. The reality of the situation, a lot of my black friends, right, um, who are in relationships with black women, they oftentimes I think it's at least in my experience, it's been a system where they value the black women a great degree. I think to the point where, and oftentimes the black woman has, I would go so far as to say, has a certain great amount of management over the home, right? And so in some cases, pretty much the boss of the house, right? And so I think there's a whole different situation there with at least a lot of black men I know. Um, Although I've seen relationships like this, and I've seen them work well, provided that the people share the same cultural value system, right? And these certain arrangements, right, and belief systems, right, culturally or what have you. I believe he's Nigerian American. The culture in Nigeria, could be. I don't know a lot about it, but over in Africa, I know there are some certain cultures and things that are done in relationships that might be different than in the West. There might be polygamy allowed in certain areas of Nigeria and so on and so forth, right? So it might just be a different arrangement in that respect. Um, but I don't really think, personally, to be honest with you, I don't think this video really says anything about black women being an afterthought to black men. I think that, um, if this was a standard black relationship, right, with a black man and a black woman, does every black man want a black woman to behave this way? I don't know. I don't know if that's the case, and I'm going to tell you why. Because this woman here, right, um, and it could be different again because I'm not sure what their cultural system is like. As far as their belief system is, what religions are involved, and how they view men and women. But I can tell you that generally, psychologically, black men, a lot of times, if a woman is like very, very easy, like, like, and I don't mean easy, that's the wrong term, but she was just very compliant, right? In a sense where she was chasing him and she was willing to do whatever, it took to get him. And I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing. I don't think it is. I think amongst adults, I think it's okay to come out and just tell people. I think Cynthia G was saying she think it's bad and unmasculine for a woman to to come up or not masculine on the man. And I'm gonna get to that in a bit, but she had a problem with the woman coming up. I don't think that's necessarily a problem for a woman to let you know she's interested. Uh, Provided that the man wants her, because what happens in some cases, the woman comes up and say, I want you, and the man's like, hey, I'm for it, let's go. And there's no problem there. In this particular case, where he was preoccupied with walking in his purpose, and maybe whatever his belief system, religious wise or otherwise, was his main most the source of his and put first in his life, and everything kind of fell under that. He would probably have a different value system to how he saw a woman in his life. But yeah, I don't think that's so much the issue, that if a woman comes forward and she says this or that. But I do think if the man is letting her know that, or which in their case they said they did, that would be different, as far as the pursuit. But getting back to my original point, some men don't find it attractive if they they go after a woman and she's quickly to be available to them, right? And it could go either way. Like, I don't want to make it like so all women just go, then I'm not gonna even let them know. I think as adults, to be quite honest with you, it's probably a lot easier on everybody if people just let you know their true feelings, and if they're interested, just being adult and say, I'm interested in you this way, blah, 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 blah. Do you feel the same? If not, and then you give the person a chance to explain it. And if they're not interested in that way, then you're not going to be able to get that from them, right? And so you got to decide if they're worth it. It seems like in Cynthia G's view, she always wants the men to be doing it. And I think in many cases, how society is arranged, men are going to be doing it. But I think it's okay for it to go the other way sometimes. Like, I don't think it's written in stone. It has to go any certain way. I've had it work both ways. I've heard it where the woman come on to me and I liked her too, and it was fine. I've had it where she came on to me, I didn't like her and I was uncomfortable. I've had it where I've went after her, right? And so it's worked many ways. I don't think it has to work in any particular direction. I know some people are very traditional in that sense. But also, when you're talking about the respect and value systems of women and equalities and things like that in the 21st century, you might have to let it be okay for women to be the pursuer sometimes, right? If that's really what you're after, because anytime it's gonna be conditional upon, oh, the man should always ask, the man should always take you out, man should always pay for things, then it's always going to be that condition that makes you not equal, right? If that makes sense. So that's just something to think about. That's just my opinion on it. Let me all know what you all think about it. Anyway, if you like content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe. And until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.